All right, so welcome everybody to today's webinar, where we'll be talking about how to succeed with employee referrals. And with me today, I have Jasmin from Firstbird, and it's going to be really fun to share the stage with her and just, drop some knowledge bombs on all of you and hopefully share some great inspiration for all of you to take home. Before we get into it, I'm just going to give you a quick agenda so you know what's up. First and foremost, we'll just introduce ourselves and give you a short intro to Jobylon and Firstbird, so you have some context for today's webinar. And then we'll actually get into how the recruitment landscape has changed and sort of how that has put the light on the importance of employee referrals. We'll also talk about why referral programs work, and of course, how to set up a successful one with some great tips from Jasmin and the Firstbird team there. And finally, before we wrap up, we'll answer some common questions about employee referral programs. And if you have any questions of your own, please feel free to drop them in the chat. And if we have time in the end, we'll make sure to get to them. Otherwise, we'll just answer over email afterwards.
Exactly.
But yeah, Jasmin, do you want to kick us off and just give us a short introduction to you and Firstbird?
Yeah, happy to. Hello, everyone. My name is Jasmin Jessenk. I'm part of the Global Alliances team at Firstbird. So we work very closely with our partners, such as Jobylon. And I'm very happy to be here today and talk about the magic of referrals.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. So happy to have you. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Kalle. I work at the marketing team here at Jobylon. And my job today is basically to ask great questions so we get the most value from these 30 minutes. And gotta select the keynote here. There we go. And for those of you who don't know us, Jobylon is a modern and user-friendly hiring software that's used and loved by employers all over Europe. And that includes customers who work with both us and Firstbird as well. So there is actually an integration, which we'll just give you a short intro to later. But yeah, employee referrals is something that we're starting to noticing more and more coming up from our customers. They want to work with it. And so it's really exciting to be here today.
Yes, so Firstbird, just in a short intro, we're the leading employee referral platform. So we basically digitize the employee referral process. We have around more than 200 enterprise clients at the moment, such as Capgemini, Arvato, Volkswagen, Lidl, Telecom. So yeah, we operate on a global level and basically across all industries.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, our two systems are integrated. So if you are a Jobylon or Firstbird user and want to know more of the details, we can talk about it later. We won't go into too much depth about it here. But if you just want to share 2 cents, Jasmin, that would be great.
Yes, of course. So just to give you an idea what Firstbird is about. From an employee perspective, we're a platform where every employee has an account, and the most important thing is that employees see all your job posts, all the job openings, and get notified about new ones. And really, with just 2 clicks, they can either share the job on their social network like LinkedIn, Facebook, via WhatsApp, or they can directly refer someone they know who might be a suitable candidate. And for every activity, employees get rewarded with points. And we do have a very good integration with Jobylon. So from a recruiter perspective, you really just work from Jobylon. No need to log into another tool or do anything else. It's super simple from Jobylon.
Yeah, it's great with simple tools to help you with your job. And as I mentioned, if you want to know more details, please feel free to reach out and we'll set up some time to go through them. And it's really important to have support from great tools, because setting up a successful employee referral program it can be hard, and yet it's more important than ever before, because we live in a time of greater and greater claims. Companies make bigger promises, adverts are making larger and larger claims, and that goes for employers as well. We have shiny employer branding videos, we have great perks, we write beautiful job ads, and just, promise a lot to potential candidates. And when that happens, we turn to our peers for guidance. And this trust between, friends, colleagues in our networks is more important than ever before. And that's why we see sites such as Glassdoor, Comparably, and of course our own, networks on platforms such as LinkedIn, because it's becoming harder to recruit. It's hard to get people to apply. There's a talent shortage. And even though there has been layoffs in the tech scene lately, it's still a very much candidate-driven market, especially for the top-tier candidates that all of us want to attract and hire. And that's why it's so important to have a quality referral program. And if we look just quickly about or what it looks like, I guess we can divide it into three parts, right? So we have the referrers, we have the referred candidates, and we have the employers. And the way to solve these problems, with the candidate-driven market and attracting new people, is to really align them. So first and foremost, if we look at the referrers, they want to recommend quality candidates and be respectful of their friends and employers' time and engagement. And so they only, want to recommend really good people that they know will fit in the work environment. The second part is, or the second third of this trio is the candidates, of course. And these people, with the trust that they have in their networks and to their peers, they know that they have their best interest in mind and would only recommend relevant opportunities to them. So they take them more seriously and attentively. And the benefit for the employer here is, of course, you have more engaged candidates that actually want to progress through the process. And maybe you can add something on the third here, Jasmin.
Yes, of course. We know that actually the application through referrals are of better quality. We know that the time to hire is much faster, and that there's simply a better cultural fit of referred candidates. So there's definitely also a huge benefit for employers having a good referral program. So it should be a win-win-win situation for all three parties.
Yeah, for sure. And if you can actually get these three parties aligned, you've almost found the holy grail to increasing the quantity and the quality of your hires. Because once the referral program works, it's really good. So the natural question then becomes, what does it take to create a successful recruitment program? And this is, of course, a very large question with many possible answers. But Jasmin, what would you say here, given your experience and the work Firstbird does, and you see a lot of work done in the referral program every day?
Yes, so obviously it's a huge question, but I would say there are four main aspects to really think about for creating a successful referral program. The first is your reward strategy. It's not only the money. Many companies think the more money, the better my referrals, the more I motivate my employees. But that's not the case. There's so much more to that. And we see that it's often underestimated to really think through your reward strategy. And you need to think about what motivates your employees. How can I get them on board? How can I show them appreciation? And that takes some time and effort. The second aspect is communication. Simple, but not so simple. You need to think of how would you like to communicate your referrals to your employees? How can you address potential concerns? Maybe they're afraid of referring someone who might not be suitable, and that might fall back to them. Making clear how it works, and really what we also saw is that it's important to not only communicate the launch, just write an email or post on the internet. It's really essential to keep it alive, keep communicating and keep raising awareness. So that's essential for a sustainable referral program. The third aspect is make it simple, make it fun. If you think about yourself and your employees, we all have a lot to do. We're very busy. So referrals are something you do on top. So it should be easy. There are often many policies and many guidelines, but it should be fast, simple, and fun. And the fourth aspect is transparency. On the one hand, for your employees, because they put effort in referring someone or sharing a job post. So they want to know what happens with their referrals. And often either employees don't get notified at all about the status quo or very, very late in the process. And that's a bit demotivating. And on the other hand, transparency is very important for you as an employer. You want to know how are my referrals doing? Where are they coming from? What are the channels they come from? And who are my top referrers? Because then you can start improving and optimizing and making it really a good and if not the best recruiting channel you have.
Yeah, great insights. Would you say that sort of the current employees you have is the key? It sounds like it's to really, as you said, make it simple, fun, and transparent. Do you have like any examples of what that type of communication could look like to sort of engage current employees?
Yes, I do. I mean, the communication strategy is also something very holistic, and you really have to think about how to communicate referrals to your employees. But the cool thing is it can be very creative, and it can be a part of your company culture, basically. And we have some clients who did really cool stuff. For example, we have a retail client who created an own brand for referrals, called it Insider, and created an own logo. They had a car branded, and the car was rewarded every 3 months to different employees, and the logo was all over in the headquarters. We also have a client, McDonald's, who created a launch video for all the employees, and really showed how it works, communicated the benefits, and that was really good to reach all the employees and franchisees. Yeah. And yeah, maybe one last example, because I really like that one. We had one head of HR who dressed up as a bird and went through the office on the launch day to raise awareness about Firstbird and the referrals. And obviously that's not for everyone, but I think it shows a potential creativity that can go into a communication campaign, and how to really raise awareness and motivate your employees.
Yeah, it's great. I love that. I also do love costumes, so maybe I'm not the not the average. But yeah, great examples. Thanks for sharing. And I realized I should have included a screenshot from what we do here at Joblan as well, because our employee referral program is really, really new. But the HR team and our CEO has worked really hard on it, and to make it fun and engaging, and to really get everybody on board. So I can just share a quick example of what we do here. So every Friday we have a sort of team meeting, and our designer has designed this really old school leaderboard. It looks like an arcade game pretty much. And they tried to gamify this experience so much. So when you refer someone, you get a certain amount of points. If that person proceeds to an interview, then you get bonus points. If they progress to the case stage of our hiring process, you get even more points. And if they get hired, you get a super huge bonus of points. And at the end of a certain period, or if you're the leader, you get perks or rewards or something similar to using the car maybe. So yeah, it's really, you can just have a lot of fun with employee referral programs, right? Yes. The creativity is really, there's no limit to what you can do. And definitely. I think that's the part that's really exciting.
It really can be a part of your company culture.
Yes,
I think definitely. That's the beauty in it. Yeah.
Yeah. So think outside the box. I guess that's a takeaway right now. And be creative and have fun with it, because if you have fun, more people are going to do it and you're going to see better results. So yeah, I think that's a great base and some insights into what it actually takes to create a successful referral program. And if we jump into the questions, because there are a few common ones that frequently come up. The first of which is, what can we expect from an employee referral program? What do you say here?
Well, first, I would briefly jump into the candidate market, and I'm sure I'm not telling something completely new, but if we look at the candidate market, we know that there are active candidates, they're around 20% who are really looking at job posts, attending events. So you can quite easily reach them with your conventional recruiting strategies. And then we have the passive market, where around 20% of the candidates, they're happy with their jobs, they just changed, and hopefully a lot of them are with your organizations. But then there are like 60% in this passive candidate market that are so-called tiptoers, looking in their closed environment for new opportunities, or so-called explorers who are open to new opportunities, to new discussions. And those are you're not able to reach them with your conventional recruiting strategies. This is where referrals come into play. This is where your employees, as your ambassadors, can really tap into this network and reach this passive candidate market. So this is, I think, a very important aspect to consider for referrals. And then when we think about the impact referrals can have, it's also on the short term even, that I mentioned that before, you have a proven reduced time to hire. And the conversion ratio of referrals to hire is also really good. We see that it's with our clients, it's around 4-1. So that's really good. And they are simply, candidates that are referred are simply better informed, and they are onboarded faster. So you have a lot of impact already on your short term. If you look on the midterm, you can really go to a next level with your employer branding. Your employees as your ambassadors, every employee on average has around 1,300 contacts in their network. So imagine a company with 10,000 employees, you have a reach of 13 million contacts in your network. That's huge. And even if it's just 20-30% that you can actively use, that's something really to consider, because those are the ambassadors that spread the word and deliver the positive messages about your organization. Yeah. And also on the long term, we do know that referred candidates tend to stay longer in companies. They also tend to perform better. And maybe some of you already have done this analysis, but especially if you look at the first 12 months, where you have invested a lot of money and time to onboard a new candidate, the referred candidate have an attrition rate of close to 0. So this is also a huge economic factor, and really, I think, great benefits to consider for implementing a referral program.
For sure. And as a marketer myself, I hear sort of two main things there. First and foremost, what you said about the candidate market and the different channels working and so forth. And I think that ties really well back into what we said at the start of the webinar, with employers making great claims, promising beautiful jobs and happy lives and, happy ever afters. But what we really trust, even though that's nice and it's needed, and, to reach a certain type of candidate and a certain mindset in candidates, that type of communication works really great. But if we want to reach these extra % of candidates that might be, a bit more cautious or unsure of exploring new opportunities, it's really important to tap into the trust of these networks. Exactly. And I also really liked your quick calculation there with if each candidate has 1,300 connections, then you can have, exponential reach. And sort of what I thought there was just deploying an army, so to speak, of mini influencers, which is really, really efficient. Because, you know, as we said before, and I'm sure we'll say again, you trust your peers and what they say. So it's really powerful to have that reach.
Exactly.
Another common question is, are there areas where referrals work particularly well, or areas where referrals do not perform well?
So I will try to keep this one short. Actually, referrals can work anywhere. We have clients across all industries, across all countries. Maybe the size is for a company with 100 employees, you might not reach the network effect that well, but we say from 500 employees onwards, referrals work. The only required condition is that you have an organization where employees like to go to work, where employees find positive aspects about their work and your organization. Then referrals can work anywhere.
Yeah, great. And this is the third question. I think it's a really interesting one. I'm curious to hear more about this, given that you know, we've done some crazy things that I never thought about, you know, in relation to our referral program here at Jobelon. But can you give us some insights on reward strategies? I love the car example. Do you have any more insights there, when you should do it, how they work, and so forth?
Yeah, so obviously it's a huge topic. We have an own workshop for this, but I will try to give a few insights. I think there are two major questions to answer when thinking about rewards. It's what would you like to reward and how would you like to reward it? The when, of course, also, but those are the two most important ones, I think. The what would you like to reward is when you briefly put yourself into the shoes of an employee, what can he or she influence in this referral process? It's that an employee can share a job post, it's that he refers someone directly, but if the candidate then gets hired or finishes probationary period, that's something an employee cannot really influence. We all know that. If you then think about what most companies reward, it's most of the times paying out bonuses for a hire and paying out bonuses or for a finished probationary period. And the question is, does that make sense? And we think it doesn't. Because employees should be rewarded for everything they do along this whole process. They put in effort, so they should be appreciated for all the activities they do. So of course, there should be rewards for hires and finished probationary period, but also for all the activities the employees do before that. So this is a very important aspect to think about. And then the question is, how would you like to reward your employees? What motivates them? And I mentioned that before. Of course, money is an aspect, and I'm not saying it's bad. It's, of course, it's important, but there are also other things that motivate employees. There are material rewards like a new keyboard, the cool mouse pad, I'm just a hoodie, but also emotional rewards like a breakfast with the CEO or donations. We have actually many clients who link the referral rewards with donations internally, or corporate social responsibility projects, give out vacation days. So it's really the beauty that this reward strategy can be shaped to your company culture, and make your employees really feel part of the whole process.
Yeah, I think that's great. And those activities, I guess they can be anything from sharing a job on social media to directly referring a candidate and, you know, continuously getting rewards for each stage through the recruitment process.
Exactly. And we also have our reward shop where the employees then can exchange the points they gained with rewards. So that's actually a great opportunity, as I said, not to only reward the hires, but also reward all the efforts of the employees.
Sounds like there could be some fun workshops for the listeners here with their respective teams after the webinar, how to create the best or most fun referral program with the best incentives.
Yes.
As we said, sky's the limit. Only your creativity can stop you. The final common question that we're going to cover today, if you have any more questions, I'm just going to say briefly, I see we have 2 questions in the Q&A. Please drop them there and we'll get to them just in a second. But the fourth and final question, how should a campaign ideally be communicated to employees? And, do you have a story here to share?
Yeah, I mean, I already mentioned a couple of examples, what clients did. I think also there's no one size fits all for communication. There are 3 main questions you need to answer thinking about the communication campaign. Who's my target audience? Who's my target group? Of course, it's your employees, but there's management, there's mid-management, there's works council. So who are they? Where are they? Are they centralized, decentralized? And then the second question is, what are the channels that you can use? Is it only online? Is it offline? Can you do some events, one-to-many, one-to-one? How can you reach those employee groups? And the third and most important question is, what is the message? So we often see that the message is just bring us talent and we pay you money, or bring us talent and we pay more money. And while money, again, is an aspect, it's not the most engaging message for your ambassadors. It could be like, we trust you. You can decide who sits next to you. Be part of shaping our culture of environment. And that's really the key in doing a great campaign. And as I mentioned before, there are very creative ways to raise awareness and get employees on board in your company.
Yeah, for sure. I think those were great insights there. I see we only have 1 minute left, and for our part, that was actually all we had to share today. And I know all of you are super busy, so if you have to leave, thank you so much for joining. We'll be sticking around a few more minutes to answer the questions that have come up in the Q&A. So if you want to hear the answers to those and get some bonus insights, please feel free to stick around. Let's see here.
A follow-up email, so you have also our contact details.
Yes, of course. And I should mention, if you want to, ask any questions or, bounce ideas off your mind, please feel free to reach out on LinkedIn as well, or over email, or any way you can find us. We love talking about this stuff.
Yes.
All right, Q&A, anonymous attendee. Does the employee have to have a company email, or can a private email be used?
Also, a private email can be used. That's something, our customer success team supports in thinking about which emails you can include, but technically every email can be included.
Cool. Second question here, do you recommend that the employer meet in person with all referred candidates, or what obligations do we have?
I think there is no correct answer here. It really depends on your recruiting strategy and on your recruiting process. We see that in general, the quality and the fit of referred candidates is higher. That's why they also progress more in the application process, and naturally are more often in the interviews and meet the managers personally. But as a rule, I cannot say that you should meet every referred candidate, because if you have a huge organization, I think that would be a bit out of scope. So that's really something to have a look at. And also, when you have the transparency on how many referrals you have, you can define how you want to proceed with those.
Yeah, great. Thanks for the question. And the final, just a refresher, I guess, and we can, as I mentioned before, dive deeper into this if any of you are curious, but can you specify the link between Jobelon and Firstbird?
Yes. So as I mentioned before, Firstbird is basically an employee platform. So the employees, they have their accounts, they have the Firstbird account, and they see the jobs they share there. But as a recruiter, you simply work from Jobilon. So when you get an application, you can see that it comes from Firstbird. And when you post a job, you can say, please post it also on Firstbird. So it's completely integrated into your Jobilon tool. So you simply work from there. You have some drop-down menus, some things you can click to integrate Firstbird. We can show you in a one-on-one meeting in a more detailed way. But the key message is that as a recruiter, you don't need to use Firstbird. You simply use it in Jobilon.
Yeah.
With some extensions.
Simple, the way it should be, right? Great. I think that was all of the questions that we have in the Q&A. Thank you so much for listening in, guys, again. And if you have any more questions come up later, please feel free to reach out and we'll do our best to get back to you there.
Happy to answer them.
But if there's nothing else, I'm gonna stop the webinar here. And thank you so much for today, guys, and for your time. It's been a blast, and we'll hear from you soon.
Thanks a lot. Have a nice day. Bye.